I can't believe I'm giving them this many customization options. Oh man, there's no way this ends well. I made mistakes while developing my indie VR game mod mask, and they won't be the last, so I'm going to need your help more than ever. In the last devlog, I worked on updating the elemental attacks you obtain when equipping masks in my game. Specifically for the lightning attack, I mentioned I wasn't really feeling my first attempt using the shader graph and visual effects, and opted to use a flat Photoshop PNG image and code-driven animation. Thankfully, someone in the YouTube comments mentioned that they actually liked the blue lightning effect better, which prompted me to release some polls on social media asking which one the community likes better, and overwhelmingly I received feedback that the blue lightning effect was indeed the better of the two. This isn't the first time the community has helped me correct my mistakes either. Back in Devlog 3, in that moment of development, I thought non-physics based combat was more fun as I was enjoying the sword slicing right through my enemies, thinking this made the player feel strong. But again, the VR community definitely prefers physics based combat, and after updating it back and spending more time using it, I definitely agree with this as well. See, the thing with any form of software development, or any creative pursuit for that matter, you as the creator are so deep into your work that you begin to view it differently than others. But the game is being made for the community and gamers, so it is incredibly important to get feedback on what they prefer. This is exactly why I'm creating this devlog series for this game and making development posts on social media. If I haven't been doing that, I would totally have flat lightning and non-physics based combat in my first public demo, and by that point, I would be so deep into the project that it would not be an easy task to revise those features. So this begs the question, what else have I messed up? When it comes to VR, it's hard to judge an experience just by watching gameplay demos on YouTube on a flat screen. If you've been enjoying these devlogs so far, then thank you so much for being here, and I just want to say that I really appreciate it. If you are new here, make sure to click subscribe to follow along and stay up to date on more ways to get involved. Speaking of more ways to get involved, this upcoming week, September 3rd through September 10th, 2022, I am hosting the first private, playable demo for those who have been following the project and wanting to get more involved. Shout out to the following Discord members who will be participating in this demo, and also a silent shout out to those who wish to remain anonymous and not featured on this list. You know who you are. Now I'll be referring to this build as a demo throughout this video as it's just an easier term to use. But honestly, this is more of a pre-alpha demo. This demo is definitely not something I envision to be put on Steam, AppLab, itch.io, or anything public really. I'm still focusing on the core mechanics and building blocks of the game, and before I move deeper into the project, I would like to get some feedback from non-immediate friends or family members to hear their reactions to the current state of the project. What they like, dislike, suggested changes or features to add, etc. I have my own vision and plan on what to do next, but I would like to hear what the community has to say so I can factor that into my development plan for the next few months. They say when developing indie games to get feedback early and often, and so that's exactly what I'm trying to do here. Odds are there will be more of these events in the future, so feel free to join the Discord channel using the invite link in the description of this video for opportunities to get involved with the next community hands-on demo. As you can see thus far in the video, I've been running my sandbox gauntlet using the 3 mask powers featured in the game, as well as the default sword the player always has access to. Since the last devlog, I've made the masked enemies use their respective elemental powers, so now I can battle against them using them. Now in this first demo, I am going to give the testers access to the cave demo scene where they can try out the platforming section, picking up and moving the cannon, and the climbing sections. All these parts of the game have not been touched for quite some time, as I've been putting heavy focus into the combat mechanics of the game, as the combat scenarios are going to be the main glue that pieces all of these platforming, climbing, and puzzle sections together. So it's incredibly important that the combat scenarios are fun to play. One of my biggest concerns with the cave scene, and why I know I need to rebuild it from the ground up, is because I don't think the scale of the open areas will work well with the combat, even if I add additional props to fill up the empty space. It simply takes too long to travel to the group of enemies. It would be even worse if you don't have a mask power and are stuck with using just the sword. Previously, my sandbox gauntlet consisted of 2 hallways and a big open room. I've expanded on this and made 2 variations of the gauntlet, a small version and a large version. These pathways are going to be identical in every way except the scale is bigger in one of them. What I'm curious to know is which of these paths do the testers generally prefer overall. Even if neither of these paths have the right feel to them, which one is a good starting point to expand upon? And by the way, all the textures here are just quick samples I slapped on. If you think the style looks cool, then awesome. Definitely let me know in the comments. But honestly, I didn't want to just have gray walls anymore, even though this is just a sandbox testing environment. Since I spent so much time in this place, I just wanted to decorate it a bit and make it a little more enjoyable to work in. I'm sure it'll be a bit more enjoyable for the testers as well. But I did not put a ton of effort into the textures by any means, so in the larger rooms, some of the textures feel a bit more stretched out. Again, I just wanted to make a note to take the textures here with a grain of salt, but I would be interested if you like the style of it for at least one of the levels or sections in the game. In addition to the scale, I also added 2 new rooms to each path. The first is a copy of the open room, except with a pillar in the middle. I feel like this will help with working with the enemy AI a bit more down the line, as well as giving the testers some cover to play around with. The next one is a bit more of a complex design. I have this highly detailed textured blue water that you can jump in, and the enemies can only navigate across the 2 bridges. There are also 2 pillars for cover on each side. Eventually, I would like to add some kind of mechanic here with the lightning, where if you are in the water, the enemies can strike the water and do damage to you, so that taking a shortcut through the water is a bit more of a risk. You may have also already noticed these buttons I have in each and every room. When you enter a room for the first time, there's a default enemy wave, but I want to be able to spend time in each and every space quickly testing out different scenarios to see if they feel balanced in said given space. Once the default enemies are defeated, instead of running all the way through the gauntlet and starting over again just to take another look at the combat scenario, I have these buttons set up where you can spawn a variety of different enemy waves with a mix of masked and unmasked enemies. Every room also has all the masks available to use, so the testers as well as myself can test the 11 different enemy waves with 4 different combat playstyles for 44 different scenarios in total for each of these rooms. I'm not sure if this is considered content or not, but hopefully this gives some variety in this demo and can help determine if in certain spaces 5 enemies feels too crowded, 3 enemies feels too little or too easy, which of the mass enemies feels more balanced or unbalanced, etc. To further help making testing the scenarios as painless as possible, I also included a health pack system so the players can restore their health if they took damage. This is something I wanted to include in the game anyways, so now it seemed like a good time to do so, as I think this will be beneficial for this demo. Since this is VR, I wanted to make the health pack system to be somewhat interactive, but not as cumbersome or gimmicky as say Population 1's banana, where you have to peel the banana before holding it up to your face to eat it. Because our character is supposed to be extremely strong, I thought instead of a simple health pack, it'd be funny if you had to pick up and eat an entire bottle of painkillers. One painkiller is simply not enough to help our player out because they're just way too strong for that. And of course, they don't swallow the pills either. Nah, they straight up chew them. So when you hold the bottle to your face, you eat it and you see pills spew out of your mouth and this munching sound effect plays that I made myself. I'm not sure if the bigger issue here is that I probably just kissed my chances of getting on the main meta store goodbye due to drug references, or the fact that the bottle says painkiller tablets, but capsule pills are dropping out of the player's mouth. Please nobody report this as a bug. Let's just call this one an Easter egg. Okay, so now there are a ton of different scenarios to test in a variety of environments of different scales, and myself and testers can spend as much time as we would like in each of these areas testing with all different powers for as long as we want. But I didn't want to stop here. Remember, I made mistakes in the past. I don't know what else I have screwed up. I've been playing a lot of the new Multiverses game lately, as I find it to be a pretty fun Super Smash Bros. Clone that's super accessible. Now, whether it's a fighting game or a shooter like Halo, I was reminded just how important weapon balancing and small tweaks are in games. This brings us to the wall of beta tester settings. These settings are not intended to be available for public demos, so if you want to go crazy and have the freedom to play around and experiment with stuff like this, then make sure to join the Discord server for when I decide to do another private demo test like this one. But essentially, I have many default settings that I decided felt good to me. But just because they feel good to me does not mean they are good for everybody. Much like my previous executive decisions on the lightning effects and the non-physics based combat mechanics, I don't know what other default settings I decided on my own that just end up being wrong. Once the testers get their hands on this demo build, if they think the default walking speed is too fast or too slow, I don't want them to have to wait on me for a new build. So I figured, why not just allow them to customize it right here and right now, and then they can give me feedback on their favorite settings they played with. Not only can they customize the walking and sprinting speeds, but I have other gameplay settings such as the rate of fire of the elemental attacks. If the fire attack feels too slow, then it can be adjusted to be faster, and vice versa. The same thing can be said for how much damage each attack does. Right now I have the fire attack when used by the player doing 50 damage, the ice attack doing 5 damage, and the sword doing 25 damage. These may not be the most balanced or most fun values, so I figure if these are things that the testers want to experiment with, then let's let them. You can also customize how much damage the enemy attacks do, the attack range for how close an enemy needs to be before they start attacking you with their ranged attacks, and the stun length of the lightning power. There are also some more common VR settings such as smooth or snap turning, and the speed of either the smooth or snap turning depending on what the player's preference is. For all these settings, the testers as well as myself can experiment with these settings, and then run through the testing gauntlet and try to find a sweet spot of what feels like the best default settings if the default settings I provided are not the most fun options. At the end of the gauntlet, the player is teleported back to the settings room where they can continue to make adjustments to the settings and continue to experiment, or they can either save the settings if they like them or send them back to the default values I've initially set. If they save custom settings, then they will remain the same the next time they boot up the demo, and they can even be used to continue to experiment in the endless mode or the cave scene I have set up as part of this demo as well. So the walking and sprinting speeds can be fun to play around in the cave scene and may be useful for experimenting with the platforming section. But again, combat is the most critical thing to focus on at the moment when it comes to trying to figure out the most optimal default settings. I'm very excited to hear the feedback from the testers as they get their hands on this demo, and hopefully they have fun playing around, both in hopes of trying to find some serious settings for the main foundation of the game moving forward, but also have some fun playing around with some game-breaking settings for the time being. And if there are other settings I don't have customizable but would benefit to be customizable for testing purposes, then I will gladly add them to the settings menu for the next private demo session. I'm sure this first session will not be perfect, as I already have thoughts on what needs improvement, so I'm definitely interested to hear if the testers' concerns align with mine, or if they have completely different takes that I never even considered yet. I'm sure we will have another one of these testing sessions in the future to address the feedback of this session, as well as new features to test, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and join the Discord if you would like to get involved with the next one of these sessions. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit the like button, as it is honestly a huge help. If you would like to further help support the channel or the development of mod masks, I also have a couple of additional ways you can do that now with some affiliate links in the description. The first is for Kiwi Designs, where current VR users can pick up some VR accessories to enhance your personal VR experience. You can even get 5% off your order by using coupon code developRHUNT. Or if you are not looking for VR accessories at the moment, then I also have an affiliate link for Humble Bundle in the description as well, where you can pick up a variety of different games, software, or book bundles for as little as $1. And not only do I get a kickback from that, but a portion is also donated to charity. And also, by the way, there's a huge summer sale going on right now, so make sure to check it out. Again, both those links can be found in the description below, along with my other social media accounts. Also, big shout out to M King Productions, who has hooked me up with almost all the music and the videos on my YouTube channel. His links are always found in the description of my videos, and almost all the tracks can be heard on Spotify, so make sure to check him out as well. If you made it this far in the video, then thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.